What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Sports Live right here on either Twitch or YouTube. I'm joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, I figured something out today.
Okay.
Because Soapy brought up, like, the 10th, and I was like, oh, that's Dave's birthday on Games Live. I found out, because I looked on my tablet, your birthday is the 10th. So you know what I'm going to do? When my dad comes over to your house, because like he does, I'm going to send with him a birthday hat that you're going to wear on that Tuesday episode.
No, I'm not.
A little birthday hat.
Nope.
Send you a piece of cake with a candle. We can sing happy birthday before that show.
Don't think I'll be doing that.
Dave's like, I'm going to be sick that day. I ain't going to be able to come on.
Don't think I'll be doing that. I don't know what day of the week it is, but nope.
It's a Tuesday. I looked it up.
Oh,
Tuesday.
Of all the days of the week.
Which is weird because Veterans Day is the day after, and Veterans Day is on a Wednesday. Isn't Veterans Day usually on a Monday?
Nah, just when it works out that way.
Oh, okay.
Clearly the days rotate.
Also, another question I have. Did Illinois pass that thing where we don't have to do daylight savings time anymore?
That's a damn good question.
Because I looked up this Sunday is the kicking the clocks back. And I was like, are we doing that? Like, is that something we have to do?
I'm going to fucking Google that.
Okay, because I looked that up. Apparently this Sunday is daylight savings time where we fall those clocks back. So if you guys did not know, now you know. But welcome into the show. Before we get started, we got a jam-packed show. A lot of football today. A little bit of non-football at the beginning. Before we do, get that housekeeping out of the way. Number one, Discord. If you're not in it, you're behind the 8 ball. Join that Discord. Link down below if you're on YouTube. Or if you're in Twitch, !Discord gets you that link into Twitch chat. If you want to support us, check out patreon.com/MVPvids. But you can also support us by throwing us a sub on Twitch, where we are live every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. But we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. So go ahead, sub to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. And Dave, before I preview the first segment, did you find out my answer?
I think it's still. I can't find anything on this.
Okay.
Like,
because I don't
think we have gotten rid of it yet.
Okay, because I know Illinois was one of the states of, hey, we want to get rid of that shit because pushing the clocks back is stupid.
It is, and I agree, but I don't think it got pushed through yet.
Okay. So
I'm reading a lot of stuff that I can't see any confirmation.
So the sun's going to have to go down at 4 for another year. That's what you're telling me.
It does look like that.
Yeah, Tim says we still have to change the clock back, and Tim's an Illinois guy also.
Thanks, Tim, for the confirmation. Everything I was reading was like, it still looks like it's a thing.
Yeah. But, Dave, the first thing we're talking about today, UFC happened this weekend, and I'll be honest, did not expect news like this to happen. I'll be completely honest, I didn't expect it to happen that after the fight ended, I just turned off the stream. I was like, you know what? Like this fight's over. Like I was like, I'm not gonna watch the post fights because like the interview because I did not expect Khabib to retire. Yeah. Like we were on Twitter, like going back and forth, like who's his next opponent, and someone's like, didn't he retire? And I was like, oh shit, totally didn't see that. So not only does Khabib go to 29-0, beats Justin Gaethje, but then retires. To where, Dave, thoughts on the retirement, thoughts on where UFC goes with its lightweight division now?
I mean, him retiring, I understand. 100% understand. Like,
yeah,
he got into fighting because of his dad. He trained with his dad. It was definitely a family connection, and then losing his father, like, I can only imagine how much that just changes everything.
Yeah.
So I totally understand him not wanting to fight anymore. You know, obviously the conversation, like his retirement speech was just like, did you watch that at least?
I did on YouTube where it was like, he said to Gaethje, kind of the thing that Philly D always says. Like it reminded me of what Philly D says of like, love the ones you got now, give them a hug now, because you don't know when they're not going to be there. And like Khabib's was more of like, it's going to happen.
It's some chilling shit right there. So incredibly tough. Again, I think I agree. I like the fact that on the way out, he's like, but put me up there as number 1 pound for pound fighter on Tuesday or Monday, whatever the fucking day comes out on. Thought that was great because I'm like, he looked scary as all fucking get out. He's so strong. So yeah, obviously this puts the whole division up into the air as far as, do we have a new title fight? Is the Conor fight a belt fight? What happens to Justin, the former number 1? Obviously he's going to fall, but like, who's he have to face or maybe face again to get that next title shot? So it definitely throws things up in the air. I mean, I want to believe that Dana would just be like, well, we're just going to add smoke to the fire, give Conor a shot at the belt to lock it up with that fight that they haven't officially made official yet. But
yeah, they haven't put pen to ink yet.
Right, but it's on the way. And if now there's going to be a title on the line, you can't tell me that wouldn't be a high selling fight. Like, it's Conor coming back, huge thing.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
that seems to be the obvious answer.
Well, I think the big thing is too mainly there's 4 guys in play, to where obviously it's Conor and Dustin, who we're going to see, Gaethje, who we just saw, and then Tony Ferguson are like, those are the big 4. Yep. Really, it's how far does Gaethje fall? You're going to, like we've said now, this is the 3rd time I'm saying it, Conor and Dustin are going to fight. Bringing up Conor, the one thing I will say, kind of missed with me. You know how, like, when you say something and you're like, I don't know how this is going to land with people. I am a Conor fanboy. I am a Conor fan. But True. His tweet following the retirement of Khabib, there was a part in there that I was like, it's so Conor, but I would have left it out. Where he said, good performance at Team Khabib. Yep. I will carry on. Respect and condolences on your father again. Also, to you and family, yours sincerely, the McGregors. I would have left the I will carry on out of there. To me, it kind of was like Conor throwing a jab of like, oh, don't worry, I'm going to carry on the division. I'm going to be the next lightweight champion, which is totally Conor. But I was just like, part of me was like, take that out. Just leave it all for Khabib. Just your condolences is great. That's what
Conor's just reminding me who's still around, who's getting the paycheck next, who's getting the belt next, maybe. Yeah, Pat, I am in the event right now, so help me. But yeah, no, at least it sounded professional. Like, that's the thing. I was waiting for like Conor to be like, he's afraid, like
he's afraid of me.
You know it's coming. He's not gonna wait long to say it, but he will give him apparently a day, because I guarantee you, by the time that Dustin fight happens, he's like, Khabib retired. He's afraid of me. He knew I was training harder than ever. Like, all this shit's gonna come spouting out, and he's going back to the low class person that he is. So I won't be shocked by that. But yeah, I think Conor is Dana's dream boy to be back at the top of the division. Dustin wouldn't be bad. Justin, no problem with him. No problem. And then who else? Oh, Tony.
Fergus. Yeah, because like
that's the one that pissed me off is the fucking Ferguson Khabib that we never got. Like 5 fucking fight attempts and no fights.
Ferguson Khabib. The last fight that Ferguson had was against Gaethje back in May, where that was a loss for Ferguson via a KO TKO. Gaethje hit him with the punch, and Tony was done.
Yeah, I mean, any one of those guys. I kind of am waiting for a new up-and-comer again, but like, that is Justin technically right now. So I think you see the Conor Poirier fight, and then you see whoever wins that versus Justin probably for the belt, if they don't want to just do the belt outright in that Conor fight, which Dana could do because money.
Well,
makes sense.
Here's what I kind of think is only because you have Conor and Dustin already scheduled for
they're penciled in
2017. What I would do then is I would say, okay, vacant belt. We already have that match going, which right now before the rankings change is 2-4. No matter where Gaethje falls, just say, all right, since it's a vacant belt, Gaethje Ferguson 2, have them fight again, and then have the winner of Conor Dustin go up against the winner of Gaethje and Ferguson.
I like the idea. I don't know if Ferguson, what his timeline is to take his next fight, because Justin was saying he was looking for a quick turnaround. He wanted to fight again. He's like, hey, look, I didn't get concussed. I got choked out. That's easy on me. Like I'm out. I dream for a couple seconds, and I'm back up. I can fight again like as soon as possible.
Which the announcers were saying, like you saw him tap, and they're like, "Why didn't the ref call it right away? They waited for him to go actually asleep before they're like, okay, wave it off."
I think the ref thought it was a punch attempt, just really weak, you know. And he made him suffer through it. But yeah, no. So that Justin seemed very, very excited to fight again, fight quickly. So depending on the timeline, that would work out. Kingy does bring up the GSP fight. Yeah, I mean that's a dream fight. That's one of those ones where it's like, well, yeah. I mean, if you get a GSP offering a fight in a year, then maybe Khabib comes back. But outside of like a pound for pound best ever, there's no reason for him to do it. He beat everybody he needed to. 29-0. He's the best, and the scary thing was he got better the more he fought. Yeah, like it's one of those situations where it was just like waiting to see the cracks in the armor, but like he changed styles. You know, his fight with Al Quinta, he wanted to prove something and try to stand on his feet the whole time. Really didn't bring it to the ground game too much because Al, credit to him, his defense on takedowns was great. And then as he kept going, like he kept getting better. He kept working on different facets of his fights. So he's a student of the game, and all credit to his training staff and fight coaches. Because I'm like, the thing I loved was the Ninja Turtles function pictures of him. I don't know if you saw that from his weigh-in. Like
no,
they mocked over the Ninja Turtle eye thing over him because his back is so like jacked out to the side. Like,
kind of looks like a shell from.
He has a shell on his back. He's so fucking. It's ridiculous.
No, the thing that I saw that made me like, oh shit, was they put a picture of Khabib when he was in the ring, like on his hands and knees, like facing the mat, and then Jordan laying out with the ball, and I was like, oh, like you're trying, like Sports Center, you're trying to hit me in the fields or in the fields. Here.
You can't say John Jones is pound for pound number one because John Jones pound for pound is the guy with the most steroids. Like I can respect the man.
Jake said the same thing on Twitter after the Khabib fight that John Jones pound for pound number one.
I think that had John Jones not been so caught up in steroids and Khabib not been so incredibly clean, there's a case. But like right now, I got Jones is 2, Mighty Mouse is 3, maybe GSP over Mighty Mouse. But yeah,
the one thing I will gonna say is I think the next, obviously, like you said, Conor is the dream boat for Dana to be at the top of lightweight.
That's what prints money literally for.
But I think now all the attention of like, because Khabib was the top guy currently, because like John.
Yeah, we were all waiting for the Khabib Conor rematch. That was what was gonna fucking make millions, hundreds of millions.
I think now the big ticket seller, and this might be obvious, people in like the UFC fandom would be like, well, Ricky, you're just spouting out just fucking like duh kind of things. Now it's the middleweight guy, Israel. Like he's the guy that's like the big draw of attention because of how he fights, and he's dominant. Like all the fights that I've seen recently from him, he's been dominant in, and the cockiness that he brings to his fights.
He's dominant. I don't know if he's exciting. That's the thing. Like there are other guys in his own division who are more exciting fighters than he is. I don't think he's the draw at the box office. I really don't think so. I think there are a bunch of other names. I think a lot of the lighter guys who have a whole lot of speed bring a whole lot more action into it. So I like Israel Adesanya. I think he's a phenomenal fighter, but he is not a box office draw on the same level as anybody. Like he's like 1/10 of a Conor, it feels like, you know?
Last question I want to ask you, UFC, and this is just me popping in because this was announced. I saw it on Twitter because I follow her on Twitter. Megan Anderson announced, well, through her Twitter, that UFC 256, which is going to be in December, we have a championship fight for the featherweight championship for the women. It's going to be Megan Anderson taking on Amanda Nunes, the Lioness, I believe is her nickname.
Not picking against Amanda. sorry. Like, I wouldn't even want to go in that cage.
Belt Nunez.
Would not go in that cage. You could not pay me money, Ricky, to get in that cage with Amanda Nunes.
Not even $1 million. You would definitely survive the fight.
For $1 million,
you would
I would
be
tap
alive.
out. For $1 million, I would tap out to her. Absolutely. But like, it's gotta be worth my time. And that's the thing. That would not be a pretty fight. And
Yeah.
I don't. No. Sorry.
Dave's like, no, sorry.
Amanda Nunes is probably the most dominant women's fighter we've ever seen. Like, she makes Ronda Rousey look like a bitch.
Yeah, I'll say the most dominant since that Ronda run before Ronda got the fucking hit by Holly Holm.
Yeah, but the problem is that, like, she makes Ronda look like a bitch.
Yes, yeah. Like
Ronda had one move. She's hip tossing judo all day, baby. Amanda Nunes will stand and fucking punch your lights out. She'll get to the ground and she'll drop you. She has the full fucking game.
Yeah.
It's not, there's no woman who's close to her.
Yeah, I agree with you. Whenever we've seen a Nunez fight, it was basically going in, I'm like, they ain't going to win. Nobody's going to be able to beat her. The other thing I think that's cool, and this is just a side thing because I did a little research with UFC. UFC 225 or 255 is going to have Valentina Shevchenko on it. You know who else it's going to have on that card?
Who?
Antonia Shevchenko, her older sister.
No kidding.
Sister's going to be on the same card. I thought that was cool. One's going to be preliminary. Right? They're Antonia is the older sister of Valentina.
Not each other.
No. Valentina's going up against Jennifer Maia. I believe that's a rematch, I think. Unless I'm thinking of a different Jennifer Maia fight that we might have seen on a different UFC. And then the older Shevchenko Antonia is going up against Lipsky. So one's on the preliminaries, one's on the main card, obviously. Cool. Valentina.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I just was like, shit, fucking sisters on the same exact card. Kind of cool for them to be fighting on it. But Dave, let's move on. NFL world. Antonio Brown. He's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. We talked about the Seahawks being a team that was looking to go get him, but I find it funny that Bruce Arians, we're not going to get Antonio Brown. Tom Brady, we're going to get Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown is now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, the way he called it, he's like, well, this is a me decision, not a Tom Brady decision. Like, sure.
Antonio Brown's really matured.
We believe you. We totally believe this is coming from your mouth and not from Tom Brady doing this to your fucking yeah. Okay. Hey, great grab. That's all. Like, we mentioned it, and it was like, what team should get him? Well, Tom Brady wants him. Tom Brady thinks he's the best guy. Like, this is the worst news in the world for Scotty Miller, who's losing his starting slot.
It's the worst news in the world for every Mike Evans owner, because we're already panicking that Chris Godwin gets most of the fucking targets, and now AB's coming to town.
We talked about this a little bit before we started live, and my thought is, look, Tom Brady doesn't have an arm that he trusts. Mike Evans is a guy who has deep ball potential. Who he was the Jameis Winston. Throw the ball vertically. I will 50-50 everybody in this league for that ball, and I'll come down with it more often than not. Tom Brady doesn't have the arm, and Mike Evans hasn't been at practice actually running routes, and I don't know how long, because he's had a lingering injury where he's basically showing up on game day and doing walkthroughs on the other, a couple days a week. So I understand that. Antonio Brown's going to come in here and average 7 catches a game. Like, that's my outright. I'm like, oh yeah, that's instant success. How many weeks he will do that before he says something or does something is my question to you, Ricky. How many weeks does Antonio Brown stay on this Buccaneers team?
Well, that's the thing where I look at it and I go, here's the question. Are we going to see a different Antonio Brown that we saw in New England? Because do you remember how many games he played in New England, Dave? Played one game. One game in New England where he 8 targets, 4 catches for 56 yards, and had 1 touchdown. I remember that game because everyone's like, oh man, AB looked pretty good. Like, AB's going to be back soon. And then we never saw him. Never saw him again. Like, and there's a part of me that's like, is that because of him just going off the deep end? Plus Bill Belichick. Like, Bill Belichick is not what Bruce Arians is to Tom Brady.
Hashtag off the field.
Yeah, so you're saying it's mostly off the field, and if that's all sorted out, then he'll be fine.
Lingering sexual allegations.
Yeah.
Like it's not closed book. I think he still has to go to court.
Yeah,
that's what chat's even saying. Like, Pat Hill, did everyone forget Brown's a garbage human? Nope, still know that. The rule is, remember, Pat, unless there's photographic proof, and even then, if you're talented enough, we're pretend it's not, because football is greater than human life, as we've learned.
Yeah. I mean, look at, Kareem Hunt. There was video evidence.
Yep,
yeah, I know. Ray Rice, video evidence. To where it's like, if no one sees it, then I guess the NFL, it's not that bad to them.
Who was that pass rusher? Who had the police report who beat his wife or girlfriend?
Oh yes, shit. What was it?
It was terrifying.
Oh fuck!
The write-ups from the police report were like, "This is horrifying." Like, this man should be locked up.
Was that Randy? Was that fucking the UFC guy? The guy that's in UFC now? Oh fuck! He played for the Cowboys. Randy Gregory. Was that Randy Gregory?
Yeah. Like, again, the NFL is just evil at times. Like, they are just like, so you're a horrible human being, but you can make us money and win games, you say.
Yeah, that was Randy Gregory.
So again, Antonio Brown didn't commit murder on camera, so therefore he will get another shot and another shot and another shot until he no longer can help people win games.
I'll be honest. I'm treating this as like I don't even know if he's going to help the Bucs win any games.
I mean, they're already winning a lot of.
Yeah, there's a part of me too. Like, I know Kingy. I think the 3 weeks that he said in Twitch chat was the answer to your question. How long? Yeah. I'd be surprised if he plays more than 2 games because of everything that we've seen from AB. And if there's not somebody like. Yet again, I'm going to say it again. Mike Tomlin deserves a fucking award. I've done a complete 180 on Mike Tomlin, going from the man should be fired in Pittsburgh to get this guy a goddamn Purple Heart for all the shit he had to deal with in Pittsburgh. With how he was able to just fucking contain Antonio Brown. It's a wait and see. It's just, and it sucks to be this way, but like, I'll ask you this. If the Buccaneers don't win a Super Bowl, because if they win a Super Bowl, the answer to this is no. But if they don't win a Super Bowl, do you think that fans, media will look back at the Buccaneers and say, basically the question of, why did you let Tom Brady hold your franchise hostage? Why did you let him do this? Like, force him to bring in AB?
No, 100%, not even a question. There are like this is a no problemo situation.
Okay.
They look. Tom Brady is making Bill Belichick look like an idiot, right?
Is it?
In his last 4 starts, he's got 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, completion percent at like 64%. He is dominating at the NFL, like just dominating teams. And I get it. Played a couple bad teams in there. The Packers. And the
who's he making look more like an idiot?
Yep,
Bill Belichick or Robert Kraft? Because Patriots wouldn't be in this situation if Tom Brady didn't force Robert Kraft to trade Jimmy Garoppolo.
True.
Just saying.
True. I will not argue that, but you do have to admit that I don't know. I mean, like, that's the situation. Like, Robert Kraft is an idiot, but again, you do everything to appease Tom Brady. I think the thing was that, like, Bill Belichick finally was like, I'm not going to keep doing this. And the problem was he'd already, obviously, we lost Jimmy G for a while now, so they were stuck. So, it's a bit of a combo there.
Fucking Tim.
He did. Yep.
He had his own issues. He did, of course.
Yep. And I believe Antonio Brown commented on those issues publicly. Yeah,
he did. It just makes me think back to exactly what we're at here with what Pat McAfee said of the big thing with Tom Brady, and he was not going to get this with Bill Belichick because Bill Belichick is my team, my decisions, you fall in line kind of guy. Where Tom, I guess, went out golfing or something with Peyton Manning, And Manning talked about it. And McAfee's like, it was like this. If Peyton wanted a guy or wanted something to happen, he'd walk right into the coach's room, right into Pagano's office and say, I want this guy. And boom, they'd go ahead and get it. And if Pagano wasn't going to do it, he'd walk right into Polian's office. I want this guy. Let's go get him. And they would do it for Peyton Manning. And Tom Brady was just sitting there like, that's how this works? That's how this works? And then tried that with Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick said, get lost, kid.
I mean, look, what you complain about? Bill Belichick got you Randy Moss. Bill Belichick got you Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
He got you a post-prime, lots of other players. Like every running back past their prime got on your team, you know.
He got you Gronk or kept Gronk around? Question mark.
Gronk lasted long enough, you know. There was another guy who was a murderer. Yeah. Had some questionable moves. But Tom Brady definitely calling shots down there in Tampa. And they're winning games.
Hey,
they're successful. Who's gonna stop them right now? That's the question.
Right now it's let's see what happens until they get to the playoffs. Because obviously they're gonna be a playoff team. The Bears are gonna do it.
We already beat once.
I love Pat Moss for one season, but that season was probably the best season we've seen, or one of the best we've seen between a quarterback and a wide receiver. Yes, Antonio Brown for one game. Chad Ochocinco, forgot about that for a few games. Not even Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Antonio Brown. With the Tampa Bay
Tom Brady went in there and was like, either you're getting me Antonio Brown or you're trading for Julio Jones. Your call.
One of the two. Yeah. I mean, he obviously with Mike Evans' injury, he needs help out there because
he needs to just rest. Like he keeps going out there and limping down the field every fucking game. It's
because he's a gamer, Dave. Better. He's a gamer.
I don't know if he's noticed. He's not getting better right now. Like,
it's not good for my fantasy team because I know. But, Dave, let's talk about guys that we did like this week. These are the dampest of dudes, saggiest of shooters, the moistest of men, and sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are our wet boys. Usually how it goes is these are our players of the day, or in this case, players of the weekend. Dave gives a wet boy, I give a wet boy, and then patrons, silver and above at patreon.com/MVPvids get to vote every time for their wet boy as well. So if you want to do that, support us on Patreon. Dave, October 26, 2020, who's your wet boy?
I'm going to take a controversial one here. Perhaps, it was a good game. Perhaps it's his new regular. Perhaps he's just really good at beating really shitty teams.
Okay.
I'm going with Baker Mayfield on this one. The man was a dumpster fire to start this game. He couldn't complete a pass to save his life. I have the records in Discord where I'm like, man, should be cut. His time in the NFL as a starting quarterback for the Browns.
He's donezo.
He's over, people. And then what does he do? Rattles off 21 straight completions, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, a game-winning drive. Like, everything you want out of a quarterback. And what did he do with it? Out his best wide receiver, because OBJ got a little fucking cranky because somebody picked the ball off. They jumped around a little bit, to his credit. And so he went, I'm going to go try to hurt somebody. Turns out that somebody is himself because he's an idiot and can't tackle. So that's what happens when you throw your body at people like an idiot.
You say controversial, like he had 5 touchdowns. Like, now I will say...
You went and discredited him right away.
Oh, no, I will say. He had 5 touchdowns, but it was against the Bengals. Like, against the Steelers, he wasn't doing that. So, yes, it was 5 touchdowns, but against a garbage team. I'm right along with you. I think Baker Mayfield, like, let's see what he does against the next good team, but I don't think, like... There's not many left for the Browns. Like, the Browns might be playing teams that Baker Mayfield might be able to pop off against.
Rolling Baker.
He might. For mine, Dave, I got a little bit of show and tell for my wet boy. So I'm going to get rid of our overlay a little quick. I'm going to get rid of the wet boy. I have a little video evidence of my wet boy. If you hadn't seen it, you're going to see it right now. This is my wet boy. His name is Michael Phoenix. And he's a baller, Dave. Down 1 to Penn State. Bam! Gets the pylon. Just barely gets the pylon with the ball. Now, there were some people on the Penn State side saying he didn't get the pylon. Screw it. He got the pylon to win in overtime, 36-35. His name, as I said, Michael Phoenix Jr. He is the guy, Big Ten opening weekend, reaches out in overtime, just hits the pylon, and the Hoosiers get
Just
the
like
win
that.
over Penn State.
Penn State's chances
Yeah,
for being
they
in
did.
national championship.
Oh yeah, I think that's the best part, where it's like it's Penn State. Like Penn State, to me, it's one of those things where whenever they lose games like that, oh, I'm so happy. And I'm sorry for Jake, because I know he is a loyal Penn State fan and one of our friends, and
It's unfortunate.
it's unfortunate for him. But Dave, the patrons, they went a different route. They went with a guy that I am just going to say it right now. Fuck this guy. It's not anything against him. It's just his performance completely fucked me in fantasy, Dave. Like, completely screwed me to where all I needed, Dave, was DK Metcalf to get 40 yards. He was at 17 yards. I was down 90 to 88. All I needed was 40 yards. I'm not asking for a lot. I don't even care about the touchdowns, Dave. But no, Russell Wilson's like, let me throw to Tyler Lockett, the patron what boy for today. Great game for sure. 15 catches, that's 15 points in PPR. 200 yards, 3 tutties. You're telling me I couldn't get what? What would that be? If my math is correct, what would that be? 23 yards? I couldn't get 23 yards from him over to DK Metcalf, Dave. Couldn't do it.
I mean, look, I understand. I think Tyler Lockett was an incredible performance out there. He did everything for the Seahawks team. Runner-up, perhaps Devontae Adams, 13 catches, 196, and 2 touchdowns. Right there with him. I think the rest of if I remember the stat right I heard, it was like the rest of the Packers wide receivers had 6 yards combined, and he had 196. So truly a one-man receiving core. But yeah, Tyler Lockett, great game. Devontae Adams, shout-out game. Khabib, wet boy. I would love to, but like we had the topic about him, I didn't want to merge, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we could always just say right here, fuck it, he gets a wet boy just for what he did. Like, we could do it.
Wet boy, but like, is his career over yet? He says it is. We believe the GSP fight could happen.
That was another thing. People were like, UFC fighters, their retirements don't mean anything sometimes.
I think he needs time. He needs time to get his mind right.
Needs time away from fighting.
In 2 years, we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you, because it's one of those things where even like we saw with Michael Jordan, he didn't retire until 2 years later. But like when you've got that emotional connection to it, it's like you need to just get away from it, because yeah, it was rough, and you can see how much he cared about it. But Dave, let's move into our final topic, and this is kind of our final half hour basically of the show. Is we're going to recap week 7, and we got some interesting things to talk about with some of the games. We're going to start out with the most interesting one. You gave a wet boy to their quarterback, the Browns. And the main thing we're going to look here, Browns-Bengals, Browns getting the win. Dave, OBJ is out. Baker Mayfield looked better after OBJ was out. How is the OBJ injury going to affect the Browns moving forward? That's what I want to look at from this game.
It doesn't. Overreactors out there are really like, how? I mean, like you just said, well, he did better after OBJ left the game. Did that have anything to do with OBJ? No, not really. Had nothing to do with him. Like, their game plan is not OBJ touches the ball every single time. So it doesn't really affect them too much. Yes, they lose out on an amazing pass catcher who can make catches that no one else in the NFL can make. That's going to hurt a little bit. But at the same time, the offense has weapons everywhere. This is a stacked offense. Yeah. Remember, the problem with this offense was never the weapons. It was always the quarterback and the offensive line. So OBJ lost, sure. They're going to slow down? Not really. Like, they've got weapons everywhere. So Browns team can keep rolling. I'm more concerned on the other side of that ball. Joe Burrows got throttled again.
Yeah.
I mean, this man is not going to survive another couple. He's getting carded right now. I'm telling you. This is like, what year were the Texans started in?
Was that 2012? I'll look at it. Or was that? No, that was before that. I'll look it up.
Whatever year the first car on the Texans, where he just got murdered about 78 times in his first season. Like, you're just not going to be the same after that. After a while,
Mm-hmm.
so my heart's out to Joe Burrow. Apparently, I saw on our boy Pat McAfee, their boy Carlos Dunlap, I think, is selling his house.
Yeah.
From the locker room was tweeting about selling his house.
2002 was the Texans' first season.
So yeah, that 2002 season, that 2003 season, like, yeah, it screams of that.
Yeah.
So that I'm just, this is a Bengals team that is in absolute destruct mode. So we're gonna have to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, so when it comes to the Bengals, JD, who's in Twitch chat, was in Discord talking about like how worried he is, or how sorry he feels was the phrase, and I immediately was like, when it comes to the health of Joe Burrow, hope that he's healthy still. Like, obviously, you don't want him going out there getting hurt. You don't want to see what happened to Andy Dalton happen to Joe Burrow, which we'll talk about when we get to that game. But like, he was more on the side of like, this Bengals team should have more wins, and I was like, don't feel sorry for that. If you're a Bengals fan, how this season has gone, you want this. This is what you've wanted. You've wanted Joe Burrows to look good, but you lose games. That's the recipe for this, because if you get to the top of the draft, there are guys there. Jamar Chase, you get yourself a wide receiver. Hell, if you're not even in 1, 2, or 3, you can get
wide receiver.
No, but you can get yourself Sunwell, who is the top-rated tackle from Oregon. You can get yourself Cosme, the Samuel Cosme from Texas. Hell, you could even be in play for Alex Leatherwood from Alabama, another lineman. So it's like, there are guys towards the top of the draft that you could get. Whether, like, because I'm in the side of, if the Bengals are 2 or 3 and it's Chase or Sunwell from Oregon, I would take Chase over Sunwell and look for the offensive tackle in the second round. That's just me. But there's a plethora of offensive tackles there. This is what you want. You want Burrows to look good, but you want to lose games, because there's no way this team is competing for a Super Bowl anytime soon.
Get hit 40 times a game.
Yeah, well, that's the issue. Like, I was talking about what JD said, he should have more wins. Joe Burrow, you just want him to stay healthy. That's all you need. Which part of it is the Joe Burrows is a gamer. He's going to go try to win. Some of those runs, you're like, Joe, you don't got to run. Yep. You don't have to. Just sit there, take the sack. It doesn't matter if we win. But on the other side, I agree with JD in Twitch chat. I was going to say it, and then he texted it out. I think the biggest thing from the OBJ injury for the Browns is this offseason the Browns will be shopping OBJ. He'll be traded. Because the rest of this season, Dave, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 games where Baker Mayfield looks 3 games where he looks god-awful, a 4th game where he has the possibility to look god-awful, and then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games where he looks amazing, and that's a 10-6 record. The teams that he'll look god-awful against, Steelers Week 17, Monday Night Football against the Ravens, the week before that against Tennessee, he'll all look like duty. But he plays the Texans, he plays the Eagles, you got Jacksonville on the schedule, you got both New York teams on the schedule. Those are your 5 wins.
Yeah, that's true.
And then maybe, like, the iffy one was the Raiders next week. Because, like, the Raiders could be a good team, but at the same time, the Raiders aren't like a Ravens or a Steelers.
Right. No, I agree.
So
Browns are set up pretty well to succeed. I think it's Baker Mayfield's got his career in his hands right now. If he wants to be a starting quarterback for a long time, he can go win 5 more games. Yeah. They'll be a playoff team. Done.
Dave, the next game, Lions-Falcons. This is one that had an interesting storyline all game because neither of these teams wanted to score points. Then what happens? Todd Gurley, it's set up. I believe the Falcons were down like 1 point, and he waltzes into the end zone, Dave. Accidentally. Doesn't waltz in. He kind of turns. The ball just crosses the plane.
He realized halfway through the tackle that the defender was lifting him into the end zone. Oh, that didn't quite go as we planned.
I'll be honest. Picks-wise, I was not upset. Because although I picked the Falcons and was wrong with them losing, I was like, yes, Todd Gurley touchdown. I have him in fantasy. So I was happy with the touchdown. But yeah, the Lions get the win. And like Soapy was telling me later that night before we did our WrestleMania live watch-along reactions, Matt Stafford, the GOAT, for leading them down the field and getting them the touchdown. Lions with the win, probably saving Matt Patricia's job.
Yeah, unfortunately, Matt Patricia's still going to have a job for a while longer. The Browns, Bengals, the Lions, Falcons, and the Steelers, Titans were all down to the wire nail-biter games. All three of these games were incredible. And honestly, I think I was happiest to see the Lions win. I'm with you. Even though I picked the Falcons. I thought the Falcons were going to win it.
No, you picked the Lions.
I picked the Lions.
You picked the Lions, Dave. That was one of the ones that we were on the opposite side of.
Dope. And I'm even happier now that I know that. At the time, I was like, man, I'm just happy to see the Lions do this because, like Soap said, watching Stafford go down the field in what was like 54 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
from Detroit zone 24.
And then that Hawk the sidearm throw into the end zone just bulleted it. You gotta love Matt Stafford. That's a gamer right there.
Yeah. And it was like when the announcers were like, he was like, just give me one more chance to win. I was like, all that's missing is fucking Stafford holding his shoulder. It's all that's missing from this.
You see that Galladay catch?
Yes, I did.
It was subhuman. Like, I don't even know how you fucking pull that. Oh, if you haven't seen a Kenny Galladay catch, go check out the fucking Twitter gifs of it. It was amazing.
And Dave, you brought up the other one. The next one we were going to go into were Steelers Titans. This was a game where the Steelers were up 27-7. This was a game that I thought, yes, it was early in the third. They went up 27-7 with about 10.5 to go in the third. But I was thinking, shit, this game is in hand. Steelers are not going to lose this game. But Dave, first off, the Titans come back. They pull within 3. And then how do they ultimately lose the game? Steven Gostkowski missing a kick at the end of the game to lose them? The question I have about this one, because I think it's yes. My answer to this question is yes, 1,000 times yes. I almost wanted to ask, is this going to be the AFC Championship game we get? But I know what you would have said. Put some respect on Casey's name. So I'm just asking, is this a future playoff rematch? Are we definitely going to see these two go head-to-head again in the playoffs?
It looks like it should be. I mean, this was such a fantastic competition because Pittsburgh's defense was so good and they held up so well, and Big Ben fell victim to some 3 INTs, poorly timed fucking picks. Yeah. Like that last one was soul crushing. I think they were on the 3-yard line or some shit. I knew they were driving. All I can remember.
Are you talking about the Juju one?
All I remember was the pick happened at near goal line. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Crushing.
The one that I'm going to say is not on Big Ben and it's Juju's fault is so Juju has both hands on it. Yep. Yes, I know Malcolm Brown is pushing up his arm to where trying to break it. You got to hold that ball, man. You had 2 hands on it. You gripped that thing so tight to where no arm is getting through because it was like a whoop, and then the ball was just there for the other defender to grab. Yep. To where it's like Big Ben did everything he could. He put the ball exactly where he had to put it for Juju to catch it. Juju's just got to fucking have stronger hands on that catch. And how many times can Ricky make a strong circle with his hands? But because I noticed I'm doing it a lot.
Credit to Tennessee. They never gave up on the run game, which as a team that gets behind, Derrick Henry still got his 20 touches on the ground. That's exactly what you want to see. You got to run the ball. That was their game plan from the get-go. He wasn't the most successful at it. He did have a decent day, though, all in all. It's just moving the ball. A.J. Brown was ridiculous. That's just – A.J. Brown is underrated as far as wide receivers go in the NFL. What he was able to do out there.
Or as Michael Irvin called them on the NFL pre-shows, Allen Brown. His first name is Allen. So he's like, Tannehill's going to throw to Allen Brown. He goes, that's AJ, if none of you guys know that. So Allen Brown having big games. Dave, the next one, Panthers, Saints. This was another one. We were on opposite sides. You picked the Saints. I was like, I got to go with my Panthers. I've picked them a lot this season after dumpstering them in the preseason predictions. Dave, this is a game where I have 2 thoughts from. Number 1, this Saints team of it's just one of those things where they've had so many close games against teams like the Chargers, the Panthers, the Lions, the Raiders, even like fuck it. Every game's been a close game. Like the Bucks and Packers, though, those are like, oh, those are really good teams. The rest of them are like, you're not blowing out anybody to where I feel like this team might stumble into the playoffs, but once they get into the playoffs, it's like, are these close games going to be like, yes, we have that experience behind us for the playoffs, or is it going to be a, oh shit, we should have had some games where we blew people out? Like, is this going to be a benefit or hurt for them?
I think it's always a positive to walk away with a victory. Close games matter, and knowing how to manage the clock, as we've seen, critical. Yeah, critical. 4 games this week where clock management played it decided the game for teams. So I think this is just a really well coached, really well run offense. Their defense is phenomenal in their own respects. But Drew Brees being like, so I don't have Michael Thomas, whatever. So I don't have Emmanuel Sanders, whatever. Like Alvin Kamara want to go touch the ball 45 times a game? Yeah, we can make that work. Like that's cool by me. Marquise Callaway, huge game, came up big. Traquan Smith had a great grab. I guess he had a couple others because he had 4 catches on the day, but I've got one perfect grab in my mind. But like, yeah, they had a great game. And then shout out to Jared Cook because I pivoted last moment.
Did
about
you?
11:54, added Jared Cook to my starting lineup.
Nice.
I was like, he's going to catch a touchdown today.
And he did.
It did.
Fun trivia question, Dave.
Yep.
How many punts have the Saints kicked this year?
0? No shit.
0. Like, and the best thing about it is their punter, I'm blanking on his name, on Twitter with Drew Brees. This tweet was a picture of them both holding up zeros, and it says inactive again. Because he's been inactive the whole year. He has not had to punt the ball once.
That is awesome. But yeah, this Saints team just shut down the Panthers' run game.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater played a decent game, though.
I was going to ask you about him on the Panthers side. So, Christian McCaffrey, news about him as he returned to practice today. Good sign because Adam Schefter earlier today said that playing on Thursday is a long shot for him. But to me during this game, I was thinking one thing, and that's Teddy Bridgewater. His contract's up at the end of the year to where, yes, we don't know what the Panthers, like, I don't even think the Panthers know what they want to do yet when it comes to Teddy Bridgewater, either keeping him or not. But if the Panthers say, no, we're going to move on, based on how he's been playing this year, Teddy Bridgewater is going to get a contract with a team next year, right? Like, this is a guy that has shown this entire year, win or loss, that he deserves to be a long-term starting quarterback, even more so than that bum who didn't get to play in Minnesota this week, which was probably the only good thing I saw on TV this week, or didn't see on TV.
Bridgewater's done good with what they've given him, and I think this team suits him well. The passing attack that they have laid out, using the running back as the short screens as an addition to your running game, like, they have a lot of packages that work well for him. And then he has the ability to air it out to a Robbie Anderson, to a Moore if he's open. Like, so he's got the deep threats. He's got the short tosses. Like, it's everything that reminds me of what made Teddy Bridgewater good in college and what he was able to do successfully for that Saints team just a year ago. So I think this Panthers team really works well for him long term.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where it's like coming up with the mock draft that I'm going to do after the Monday night game it's just with the Panthers. Are they could be in a situation to get a quarterback in the first round, one of the 3 quarterbacks. It's just
even the third quarterback because they're not getting
Lawrence. They're like Fields is probably not Fields. It's Trey Lance. It's Trey Lance.
Yeah,
they're probably going to be able to get.
Better than Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, he's not. And it's like, that's the thing of, I look at it and I go, the Panthers got to re-sign him, right? Because he looks really good out there. The other thing from this game that was a cool moment is Teddy scampered out of bounds and his momentum took him to the Saints bench. I don't know if you saw this, Dave. Very smoothly just sat next to Drew Brees and fucking Taysom Hill.
He did the thing that Mahomes. Wait, was it Mahomes? Yeah.
I think it was either Mahomes or Lamar Jackson did. One of them.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson ran off to the side and sat down next to Mahomes.
Yeah.
And he did that. I didn't even catch that.
Well, it was funny because like the announcers were joking like, yeah, former quarterbacks there saying, "Nuh-uh, bud, you ain't on this sideline anymore. You got to get back in the game." Next one we're looking at, Dave, Bills Jets. Jets almost won this one. I was hoping. The Skull Viking fan in me was like, can the Jets pull off the upset? They did not. They lost 18-10. So Dave,
sad day.
The question I have here. Not the Jets, because we know the Jets who they are who we thought they were. They suck. Should the Bills be worried? How worried should Bills fans be after this game?
Very. The answer is very worried, Ricky.
They should have blown this team out, Dave.
The Jets are not good at football.
No.
And their defense played really well, which concerns me because I'm like, who's left on this defense? How are they able to exert their will on this Bills offense and keep them out of the end zone? Like, it didn't make any sense to me how this game was as bad as it was. And it was just like, well, the Jets took a 10-point lead into half. And then obviously the Bills had field goal, so it wasn't half. I didn't say that. But Jets had a lead. And they couldn't move the ball after that. And I think the entire second half they had like 4 yards or something dumb. Like they literally... I got to find the stat for it, but there was literally a stat where it was like the Jets offense, I don't think they had like any yardage in the second half. Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's all, yes, if you're a Bills fan, be worried a lot because to me, this all I don't want to say falls on, but the main guy I'm looking at is Josh Allen. Like, where'd you go? Like, come on, man. You look at earlier this season, good game against the Jets where he had 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Then 2 games of 4 touchdowns with wins against the Dolphins and the Rams. Then that game against the Raiders where they absolutely went nuts and it was the back and forth affair where they just won that game dueling Derek Carr. Then a loss to the Titans. Then a loss to the Chiefs to where...
Both totally allowable. Like, those are both games they were
allowable.
Not
I'm not saying like they should have won those games. Allowable, but it's like... You lose those games. This was supposed to be the game of like, okay, let's get back on track. Let's play Buffalo Bills. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, Dave. That's what this game should have been, and it wasn't.
4 yards in the second half
is what the Jets
New York Jets.
Yeah,
4 fucking yards. How do you almost lose to that?
But they did, and that's the thing where it's like I look at this Bills team and I go, maybe the AFC East isn't in as clean hands as we thought because...
Credit to the Buffalo defense, though. Y'all are fucking monsters out there.
Well, I mean, I look at it and it's like the Bills are in control of this division right now. But if you look at the standings, Miami's right behind them. Tua's coming in. Tua might be able to win this division from them if he plays well because the Patriots ain't playing well. Yeah, the playoff, they might be able to because the Patriots, we'll get to them later. They ain't playing too well also.
Shout out to Frank Gore. Still chugging out there. Fucking 48.
Fuck yeah, Frank Gore. Just chugging along. Chugga, choo-choo.
5.5 yards per carry. He had 11 carries, 60 yards. Wonderful game again by him. He just does his thing, man.
Yeah, he is a consummate veteran, Dave. I believe that's the words we use for players like Frank Gore. The next game, Dave, this was one to where it's like, so I originally had in our picks Cowboys with you, but then I was thinking, I'm sitting there and I'm going, nuh-uh. After what I saw last week, I don't care that they're playing Washington. I got to pick against them. And I'm glad I did. I didn't see the fucking Washington football team, the FTC, blowing them out. Rich Eisen on the NFL Network before the games had the best saying. He's like, in his picks, he goes, I'm going with Washington because the WFT is going to have a WTF moment when they blow out the Cowboys today. Thought it was pretty cool. But Dave, the question I want to ask here is, who should be pointing the finger? Like, who should we be looking at for blame for the Cowboys? Is it Mike McCarthy? Is it all the injuries? Because there's a lot of like like people are going like, oh, but they're injured. Like Dan Orlowski today talking about how he's like, I don't want to hear about, oh, they have this backup and that backup. He's like, Ezekiel Elliott's not a backup. Amari Cooper, Gallup, Lamb are not backups. No excuses. Who's to blame for the Cowboys?
I mean, everybody. Everyone's to blame. That's the problem. Is like when you look at a football team performing as poorly as they did on both ends of the ball, everyone is like, you can't just be like, oh, well, this is just because Mike McCarthy's a bad head coach. Well, no, he's not a bad head coach, but there's already rumors and word has leaked out of that locker room that players don't feel like they're prepared enough, that the coaches aren't working hard enough. So there's a lot of negativity floating there. So you got one problem.
It's bad when you make Jason Garrett look like a great head coach.
Yeah, this is Jason Garrett right there. That's Jason Garrett football. Like when that looks good, you've got a problem. I apologize to the viewers because that couldn't have felt good. But no, watching them play was horrible, and I think the players gave up on the game partway through. Like 100% believe that. I mean the fact that just denounced John Bostic, a former Chicago Bear, with a dirty hit, no retaliation by the Cowboys. That's the thing that I'm like, I completely agreed when I was watching the Pat McAfee show. And he's like, you don't get away with a free hit on your quarterback like that without getting somebody else to knock that guy down and push them back on the fact that, hey, you can't do that to my team. Like that's my quarterback moment. You can't not have that. And that just shows how out of it. That shows how out of it that team is. Andy Dalton got fucking clock clean.
Well, I was going to ask you. I saw an article today that apparently a fine is not expected in that. That's a wrong decision, right? Like that was a helmet to helmet. Like he was giving up his body. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, and I think this is the second time I've seen Bostic do a dirty hit to a sliding quarterback that I can recall. So it's not out of character for him, which means even worse. So it absolutely should be a fine. But yeah, the Cowboys as a team, like it's perplexing to think about just what went wrong with this team, because when you look at what happened, like Dak Prescott was on fire to start the year. Like that offense was moving and shaking in his first 4 games. He was killing it. 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 102 quarterback rating, like 69% completion rating. Like he was on fire. That offense was marching.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott getting himself a big old fat deal now.
Here's where I'm at with the Cowboys, where this week Jerry Jones needs to make a fucking decision. He basically, to quote Cat Williams, got to make a pimp decision, Dave. Got to make a pimp decision. You walk into the store, gonna buy the shoes, gonna not buy the shoes, got to make a pimp decision.
I hate
That's
that.
what Jerry Jones has to do. He's got to make a decision this week because you want to.
She's the quarterback.
You want to know the funny thing about this whole division, which is the NFC least?
Yeah.
This is what happened to the draft picks this week, Dave. So basically, by Washington winning 1 game, they went from the 2nd pick to the 10th pick. By losing 1 game, Dave, the Cowboys went from the 19th pick to the 8th pick. Them and the Eagles switched. The Eagles were at 8. Now they're at 19 because they're the last playoff team, and that was Dallas. And then the Giants, they're just solidified at 2 now, where they're like right behind the Washington football team because Washington was in front of them. They were in front of them for the pick. So it's like that's where this division is, where the Cowboys need to make the decision of, okay, are we going to actively try to make the playoffs because the division is in reach? This Eagles team ain't going to go on no big run. This Washington team ain't going to go on no big run. This division is in reach with 2 wins. Or do you just say, fuck it, Dak's out, this season's already been bad, let's just tank. Let's just tank for a high pick and come back next season? Because to me, there's a disparity in the picks to where it's like, I'd rather have one of those top 10 picks rather than be picking 19th. Because you ain't getting much lower than 19th. You're either getting 19th or top 10.
I mean, that's probably true. Probably true. They'll be a middling team. I don't think they're good enough to get out, and I don't think they're bad enough to be a top 5 pick. So they're not going to get Trevor Lawrence. which is a bummer because that would be their ultimate answer because, hey, we don't want to pay Dak, so we can go get Trevor Lawrence to win-win. But Dak is the guy you want to build around. Dak's going to get himself a contract. He's going to be a Cowboy for the next 4 years. Guarantee it.
Here's my question to you.
Yep.
Do you see either the Bengals? Let's see. Bengals, Vikings
Texans
are trash.
Bengals are trash.
Jaguars or Giants winning another game this season?
Yeah, I think any one of those teams can win one more game.
So if any of those teams win one game, Dallas is above them in the draft order because of strength of schedule. Because of how bad their division's been.
Dallas can win more games.
Okay.
Like you're saying, like Dallas is never going to win a game. They've written up the season.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like should they go into the tank to where it's like, let's not win. Because if any of those teams can win, they could probably get up to 3 or maybe 2 if they just tank and do what the Jets are doing.
They're not that bad. At least I don't think they're that bad. My guess is to go get Ryan Fitzmagic. It makes the most sense.
So
it's a win-win.
This week, trade for Fitzmagic.
Yeah, they should do it today.
Okay.
He can't start for them on Sunday because of that, I think, though. So like they have to trade for him now. In order for him to start the following week.
Yeah.
So
and this is the trade deadline week.
Well, no, but I mean, like you literally can't because of the COVID protocols.
Yeah.
So even if they traded for him today, he could not start for them on Sunday, I believe, is the ruling.
Yeah.
So I think the answer was, as long as it's done before Thursday this week, he should be able to start on Sunday of next week or Thursday of next week. Like it's a full calendar week.
Yeah.
So they have to make a deal today, tomorrow, Wednesday. Like that's it. Has to be done. Cannot wait. They have to get Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's the best available quarterback. He can absolutely win them, 6 more games. 100%. Like that man can fucking sling footballs. I got nothing against the Red Rocket out there, but he's not looked great. He got his clock cleaned, and I don't want to fuck around with concussion. So I'm all for moving on to Ryan Fitzpatrick at the cost of like a 6th round pick.
Yeah,
I know that I have one this year, but like a future 6th or 7th or whatever. He doesn't want to be there. He wants to be a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Guess what? You get good years as a starter here in Dallas.
Like, I don't know. I'm only torn on it in the sense of even with Ryan Fitzpatrick on this team, I don't think here's the thing. The Cowboys with Fitzpatrick can win the division, but I don't think they win a playoff game with all the injuries you've seen on defense. I don't see them making a big enough dent in the playoffs for it to matter, to where it's like, if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm sitting here going, high draft pick. That's what we're going for. We weren't in this situation, kind of like the Warriors. Not in this situation. We didn't expect to be in this situation. Guess what? We are. Because even on the defense, like I look at it and I go, even if they're 7, 8, or 5, meaning one of the teams above them gets one more win, even 2 more, and they're just tied with them because Dallas might win a game. Like a guy that could help their defense, and Gregory Rousseau even. Like just something that's like, here's a high draft pick, helps us when Dak gets back. To where it's like, that's what I think the Cowboys at least have to be looking at, is this is the time where we have to pick a direction. Because
I agree,
we weren't expected to hear.
I think intentionally losing games is the wrong direction because their locker room already is fragmented. Their coach might be out, and he hasn't even been there a full year. Like, you've lost the locker room. You've lost the respect. They've stopped trying on the field.
Well,
if you keep losing, they won't play for you anymore. Like, that's the problem. You can't bring them back at that point. So if you go ahead and lose 14 fucking games in a season, guess what? All the talent on that roster is going to want out. All those luxury picks that you had that you pissed away because like, I want CeeDee fucking Lamb in the first round. Who cares that we don't have a defense? Well, Jerry Jones, you look like a fucking idiot again. Like that's what it comes down to. You ruined your locker room because you didn't try. They can't do that. They have to go for the wins. They have to win now. It's put Fitzmagic in a position to play football, which he wants to do. It's win-win.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say is I do agree with you. If you just say like, oh, we're going to tank, but don't fire McCarthy. I feel like if you're going to tank, if that is, I feel like the move would have to be fire him mid-season so that the locker room knows the only reason why we're doing this is not for the long term. It is for right now. So it basically isn't a kind of like, oh, I don't want to play for this guy. Well, that guy's out of here. But also, if you fire McCarthy after one season, how does that look?
If you
fire
him before season's over, how does that look?
Yeah,
you fire him after what? 10 games, 7 games is right now. So like 3 more weeks. And then if he doesn't win, like, you fire him? What?
I never thought I'd be saying the Cowboys wish that Jason Garrett should be back because I thought he should have lost his job years ago. The next game, though, Dave, this was kind of an easy blowout. Many people expect it to be a blowout because Packers coming off a loss. Aaron Rodgers played great against a Texans team that isn't that great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Aaron Rodgers without his number one weapon in the backfield, no problem. Guess what?
Yeah.
Next man up mentality. Jamal Williams rocked it out there for them. He had been great in their passing game for the past couple weeks. Went out there, got it done on both ends. And Devontae Adams, just monster game. Like, every play he could make, he did make. He had some incredible footwork along the out of bounds lines. Like, he was tiptoeing his way down lines.
Yeah.
Just really dominant game. And the Texans had a late push to, save some face. But, like, let's be honest, we've seen everybody do that to the Packers. It's they kind of just go prevent, like, look, this one's over. You can score a couple points and not look like ass right now. It's okay. We're not going to punish you for it.
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway from this game, because of the Sunday night game too, which we'll get to, is more in the sense of, okay, when it comes to MVP voting, Aaron and Russ both had one bad game. They're even again. Like, this was Aaron's game too, because he played so well. Yeah, I know it's the Texans, and the Texans aren't as good as the Cardinals are when the Cardinals want to play good because they've been inconsistent. Like, this is just the whitewash of, like, okay, they're even again. The MVP race is going to be interesting going forward. Then the Bucs Raiders were early on. It looked like maybe the Raiders had something, like early second quarter, like 10-7. And then Tom Brady's like, oh, yeah, wait, I'm fucking Tom Brady, and just went off. And it ended 45-20. Not good for Gruden and the Raiders.
Yeah, no, it was really ugly, and I loved every minute of it because Tom Brady being dominant is good for football. And as much as I hate that happening, I can still go, oh, the Bears beat the Bucs, so, like, by the transit property, we're a better team.
Yeah.
Worst 5-1 team in the NFL. But about to be 6-1 in about a couple hours.
Yeah. Dave, about to be 6-1 in a couple hours. And then another, like, Chiefs Broncos too. That was another one where it was like just a
I turned down for about 8 seconds.
The Broncos, I will say, first quarter, second quarter kind of looked good to where it was like, okay, maybe this could be a close game. And then the second half happened.
Yeah,
even before the second half, like the second quarter happened.
Highlights of this one because I was not going to waste my time on it. I knew this game was going to be toast.
Yeah,
I did not expect the Broncos to compete. The only thing I'm kind of questioning at this point is just like their play calling on offense does leave me with some questions. I don't know if it's the wide receiver preference they're not running, but like someone who is as highly acclaimed as Jerry Jeudy coming out, are you surprised that he hasn't gotten more touches in that offense?
I mean, this whole offense has been I think that the Drew Lock injury, then having to go with the different, like going with Rippin, I think this whole offense has been fucking in not shambles, but like it's been jarred to where it's like there's no rhythm. And Drew Lock, this is him trying to get back. There was a spot where he did get injured. They thought he was going to be out, but he wasn't, didn't miss time. So I was like, to me, it's like this offense, I didn't expect it to be good coming into the season to where it's like, I just think this is a Broncos season where you get through, you see where you're ending up in the draft, and then yet again, no Bradley Chubb and fucking like Von Miller's out, so you didn't have Von Miller out there, to where it's like you're not at 100%. So of course you're not going to be going up toe to toe with the Chiefs. The thing I found funny was way back in the first when Drew Lock had his 2-yard run, and he was like taunting the defender, like, oh, look, oh, I got you. Everyone on Twitter is like, you're taunting a sleeping giant. Don't do it. And then they lose 43-16. I found that funny. Like, maybe you shouldn't taunt the defending champs. Maybe that's not a good idea in this one.
Chiefs are good at football. Pretty good at football.
Yeah. The third blowout from this week, Dave, actually has something to talk about.
The afternoon games just sucked. Can we be honest?
The afternoon games were horrible. But this one at least has something to talk about. Is Cam Newton got benched. Jarrett Stidham came in for them. And Dave, I'm going to ask you. The next two games, we're talking about quarterback futures. Cam's job, does he start next week? Or does this mean that Jarrett Stidham could be the starter for the Pats moving forward? I didn't think we'd be talking about this. I thought it was going to be MVP Cam this year.
I told you they're a shitty team. Who's got to throw the ball to, Ricky? Who's got to throw the ball to?
I thought, like, Tom Brady made his
no wide receivers.
Better.
None. Not one.
Oh, I know.
Turns out, as a GM of a team, you should really draft someone to throw the fucking ball to. Like, you can't just have Tom Brady throw to a bunch of 5'6" white guys out there for 20 years and just like, oh, well, it'll probably work for the next guy, right? No. Turns out, no. You're not going to have the most accurate quarterback, the smartest quarterback who knows defenses playbooks inside and out more than they do, be your guy forever. So, like, you got to figure out how to make that transition. They did not prepare for that. Therefore, they failed. And that's exactly what we're watching. Obviously, Cam Newton's still not feeling great. Post-COVID, Cam's been awful statistically. I know it's not like anything where he's admitted anything, but it is something to keep an eye on. And his 2 games back, not been great. So keep an eye out for Cam Newton next week. I think that he hasn't lost his job by any means, but I do think that this is definitely brought into question, like, is he the guarantee guy for the long run, or are we just having this as a one-year stop bargain shop for Cam Newton, and then we're picking a new direction moving on?
So the comments he made on WEEI this morning said, the first thing I said to myself coming home was, you keep playing games like that, bro, and it's going to be a permanent change. You don't need to tell me that for me to understand that. I get it loud and clear. So, like,
yeah, he's aware.
Cam Newton knows that his job is on the line. It's just one of those to where it's like you said, like, I think this is after this. I don't think he keeps his job for much longer. Like, I think he's going to struggle. I think he's going to get pulled. Stidham's going to come in. Then next year, this offseason, we're talking about who's looking to sign Cam Newton.
Quarterback. We're going quarterback happy in the draft. There's about 8 teams who need quarterbacks and only 3 in the first round.
Like,
so
here's the thing I will say, because yet again,
looks good. I know he's not till next year, but
putting together the mock, here's the thing that I think, though, that's weird.
Yep.
Fields doesn't get past 3. The only difference is who's at 2. Because right now the Giants are at 2. I don't have them going with Fields.
Yeah, I keep getting Giants over Fields for the moment, but it's not unthinkable.
It's not unthinkable, but it's just like it's not a for sure no-brainer. We're like, if Jacksonville was there, if the Falcons were there, if even like Washington was there, they probably take Fields at 2. But like Trey Lance he's the one to where it's like he could go early to a Jacksonville, to a Detroit, to an Atlanta, or he could fall all the way to the Saints and just get put on the Saints in the middle of the first round. Because like what, Drew Brees gets one more year, then Lance is your starting quarterback. Like,
more years, a lot.
Yeah,
this might be it for Drew.
Trey Lance might give it as a rookie and starts.
They might give Taysom or Jameis a 1-year trial and then move
they got
on.
Jameis.
Who knows with that? But yeah, no, like the Falcons thing, same thing. Matt Ryan's under contract for about I think it was a $40 million cap hit next year.
Yeah.
Like, you can't move on from that. So you could pick up someone like Fields to fill in back there and learn slowly. So I'll go with all that. But yeah, at the end of the day, Cam Newton likely job on the line. He's going to have a couple weeks to figure it out. There's a Pats team who has a lot to prove, and like they've got a good defense. They can make this work. It's just, man, San Francisco just pounded the fucking rock, right?
Yeah, they did.
And I know your boy Oster wasn't out there.
Hey, man. No matter what running back, McKinnon, Wilson, Mostert, like
Jr. Another shout out for potential wet boy of the day. Did not make it, but 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing. Yeah, great day from him. Did not see that coming. Did not.
Yeah, I didn't either. The next game though, Dave, similar question of like one quarterback looked good.
Huge.
Air Bear. Everyone on Twitter was high heavens to Air Bear.
Is Air Bear not the best quarterback in this draft? Can we just not be like, just
Joe Burrows? Joe Burrows looked pretty good.
Might be better than Joe Burrows.
I'm pulling up the tweet because I got mad. I think it was SportsCenter put out this tweet, and there's a part of me that was like, ooh, let's not forget about let's not forget about Claypool. I know he had a down week, but every other week before this,
0.
Yeah, this week was bad, Dave. But everyone gets one bad week.
Justin Herbert's been nothing short of fucking spectacular.
I think it was SportsCenter put up they had fucking Burrow's stats and then Herbert's stats, and they were like, man, this Rookie of the Year race is getting wild. And part of me was like, hey, we can't be forgetting about Claypool out there. It's going to be close. Air Bear has a chance, though, to be the Rookie of the Year when it's all done.
He is special. He is slinging it around without a care. He's big. He's strong. He can run with the ball. Like, again, on the year, so far this year, 1,542 yards, 12 tutties, 3 interceptions, 74.5 QBR, which is very good. I will remind you. Very good. Better than Joe Burrow. I don't know why I went to Trump there. That was weird. Like, you brag about yourself, then you got to shit talk your opponent, and then go right back to...
You're wrong. You're wrong, Dave. Wrong.
Even if you could do it, I could do it better.
Wrong. I am the most athletic person in this room, Dave. Most athletic. Me.
He's just really good at football, and I think that's the shocking thing is, like, he was a kind of a question mark to a lot of people, and like, well, you know, he got the job on a fluke, and like maybe Tyrod's gonna get it back, and then it's like you watch him play, and you're like, oh no, this guy can ball. This guy can fucking sling it. So I don't know did you find that tweet?
I didn't. It was basically their stats, and it was like, damn, this is gonna. And then I just got upset that fucking Claypool wasn't on there because Claypool has been good this year.
Joe Burrow on the year, 2,000 yards because of course he's played more games. 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 57.3 QBR.
Okay.
So put them next to each other. Herbert, by far, the superior player right now. And again, Herbert has a front line that will keep him alive through this season. Joe Burrow does not. So, you know, you're working with less. You're being asked to do more. You're being asked to throw the ball 60 times a game.
Yeah.
It's a tall task, but again, I will just keep praising Air Bear out there because he is doing things that beyond expectation. Like, he might be my favorite player right now in the NFL.
I think he is. Every time you talk about him, you light up, Dave. That smile hits your face.
I want to get like the powder blue with Air Bear on the back. Like, how good would that, like, custom jersey? That's what I'm thinking. Christmas gift to myself this year is getting an Air Bear powder blue.
Your size is a large, right?
I'm a fucking medium, son.
Are you a medium? I just remember those jerseys being tight.
I could bust out the Dion and check it. But no,
maybe that'll be a
I felt like a big on. Yeah. I know jerseys are supposed to be big on it because pads and shit. But when you're wearing them around, like, oh yeah, don't you go large so you can wear a hoodie underneath or something?
Yeah, you could do that if you want to do that.
Well, like, who wears jerseys out? When you do wear a jersey out, do you wear it with a t-shirt under or a hoodie? Like, that's my question.
I usually wear it with like how I would do it is like I would have a shirt underneath it, like an undershirt, just a normal undershirt. Yeah, just like a normal undershirt that I would like tuck in because I don't want the white popping out on the bottom. The jerseys you want to be baggy are hockey jerseys because you're supposed to wear those like fucking like sweaters. Like, that's supposed to be your jacket with how heavy.
I've seen football jerseys over hoodies though as well. That's why I had to ask.
It works.
Same thing with basketball. Basketball, you get that a lot. Because, you know, not a lot of guys like to show off the fucking guns.
You got t-shirt and then basketball jersey. That's what you got to do.
That's like, there's no good look for that.
Unless you're in shape, that's how you wear a basketball jersey. That's just how it's done. The other quarterback, Dave, though, did Minshew do enough?
No.
Because before the game, there was rumors that he could get pulled if things get ugly in this one, and he did not.
He's frozen. But he's still live on stream.
I am.
But he can't hear me.
It's my Discord. I can hear you, Dave. I can hear you. Hello? Hello? It's my Discord, guys. Like, I heard every word you said. It was as you said it was my Discord.
Oh, okay.
My Discord
does like, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the stream like, oh, he's still talking.
No, what happens is my Discord from time to time will like drop to red.
Yeah.
To where I have to just disconnect and come back in. But they said that they might pull Minshew if things get ugly. Obviously, they didn't. Did he do enough to save his job?
Yeah, I think Minshew did okay. I don't think who's going to lose his job to?
I'm thinking
it's the draft.
That's what I'm thinking. Did he do enough to lose his job to a drafty quarterback?
No, he played okay. The problem is partially in their play calling. But I don't think he's played poorly enough that you can say he's going to be replaced next season. I think he's continued to prove that given the opportunity, he can keep you in the game. He's not a fucking air bear out there. He's not going to win you games.
Yeah.
But he's not going to lose you many games. I think he's at mid-tier quarterback. I almost blurted the hell out of that right there. I could feel a little bit of chicken coming up.
Ooh, tasty.
He's a mid-tier quarterback. He is not someone who will dominate games, but he can do enough. He can play smart and win you games, which is crazy for someone who looks like Florida, man.
Yeah.
Play smart.
I don't know. This team right now, if things stay the way it is, and they're at 3, and the Giants are at 2, I think Fields is a Jacksonville Jaguar, and he lost his job.
I would take Fields and Herbert, Fields and Lawrence over.
Let's be honest, 99.9% of teams are taking Trevor Lawrence over their quarterback, and the ones that are at the top.
Agreed.
With that one team maybe being the Bengals.
Yes.
Or the Dolphins. Would you, if you're the Dolphins, would you take Trevor and then try to trade Tua? Or would you keep Tua?
That is a tough decision.
One doesn't have an injury question. They have gone head to head though.
They will see how healthy Tua is though. They'll have time. So who knows?
Yeah, I
mean, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, we'll find out how good Tua is at football.
Bengals.
If he's as good as I remember him being, then they'll be fine with Tua.
Yeah, out of all the 2-loss teams, there are 2 teams that I think would not take Trevor Lawrence. The Chargers and the Bengals.
Yep, I agree.
The two quarterbacks that are playing the best this year, the young guys. Dave, the last game, I'm just going to... Here's the thing. Russell Wilson, you've talked so highly about him. He's your boy. Kyler Murray, this Cardinals team, I also feel Kyler Murray, he's Dave's boy. He's Dave's guy.
I got a lot of boys.
Dave's guys. We'll have a segment where it's like Dave's guys. What were your thoughts on this game? Russell Wilson throwing 3 interceptions. I haven't seen that this year. But the Cardinals actually winning a good game against the Seattle Seahawks because not even they wanted to win the game, I think. Missing that field goal.
Came down to time management to end the game. That was critical. Being able to call all 3 of those timeouts. Some sour pants on Reddit was like, oh, notice how the Cardinals used a fake injury in the 4th quarter to save themselves that timeout. Otherwise, they would have had 30 less seconds at the end of the game, and they wouldn't have been able to get down there.
Yeah,
it was like, well, but they did.
Yeah,
they used that fake injury. So I credit to that fucking defense. What's his name on the Cardinals defense? Buda Baker.
Got caught by DK.
Thought he was done.
Yeah, got caught by DK though. Not faster than DK Metcalf.
I don't think anyone's faster than DK Metcalf in the league right now, outside of maybe John Ross, who's not really playing football.
Yeah. Myles Garrett says he wants a race between Metcalf and Tyreek Hill in the offseason.
Ooh.
Because apparently, you know who else is faster than Tyreek Hill?
Who?
Danny Dimes. On Thursday, Danny Dimes on that fucking scamper.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a hair quicker, but technically Danny Dimes is quicker.
I don't believe that for a moment. I think it's the fastest recorded time. I don't know Tyreek Hill has ever had to run his fastest ever because he's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. The best fucking tweet that I saw when that happened was Rich Eisen. Because he's like, don't worry, Buda Baker, I know how you feel. And he posted the video of they put Rich Eisen running the 40 because he runs it every year in his suit. Him running the 40, they gave him a 5-yard head start on DK Metcalf and had DKs right behind him, and DK just whoosh, right through him. Right through Rich Eisen. Did I freeze? Yeah, I froze. No, another one. Yeah, I froze, Dave. I know. It's one of those things. I was just saying Rich Eisen.
Seahawks don't have a chance to win games if it's not on Russell Wilson's arm. Yeah. Their defense sucks.
But yeah, let's see. How many did you calculate out? What is it, 11-1 right now?
I went 11-1 this week.
Yeah. You went 11-1. That would mean I went 9-3. Yep. With the Rams Bears, I changed it to Rams because I'm like
you're getting all fucking hypey with your last second changes here.
Yeah, well, the Rams Bears, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of in that sense of I want to try to gain a game on you and I think that Rams Bears could be one that I could gain. I gotta pick my spots. Like Washington Cowboys, that was one where I like picked my spots. That means like overall, what you're 76, 25, and 1, if my math is right now.
Why am I not betting?
I don't know. That's on you, Dave. But yet again, we're not doing like points things. These are just straight pick'ems.
I know. Just take the line, yeah.
Okay. Like that's the thing where it's like they're just straight pick'ems. And then Dave, the last thing we're going to talk about today, we got to do it. College football and COVID. There are newsies going out there with this. The first one is so Wisconsin and Illinois had a game this weekend, Dave. Guess who has COVID? Wisconsin's quarterback.
Nailed it.
Wisconsin's quarterback. So now I'm already worried about my team, my Fighting Illini, that they're going to get infected. But you want to know what was going on Twitter when this happened?
What's that?
So he played an amazing game. Two things I saw. Number one, Illinois fans saying, so COVID is a PED. COVID is a performance-enhancing drug now. And the second thing is, and this was probably the best tweet I saw, was we got dominated by a guy who had COVID. Please tell me that I shouldn't be worried about this season. Like, tell me I shouldn't be worried. And I was like, I can't tell you we should be worried.
Can't do it.
The other story, Dave, is this is coming college basketball side. Good thing, though. This is good news. We had talked about how college basketball was going to do, like, their 8 or 12 tourneys at Disney. Yep. They have scrapped those plans. They said because testing, they couldn't get the testing right. They couldn't get the right qualifications down. They're going to postpone those tournaments. So like the Atlantis tournaments and all those that ESPN does, those are going to be postponed till 2022. So the 8 tournaments are being canceled. Boo that they're canceled. Yay that they're not going to put kids in situations that they shouldn't be in. Well, just because they want to make a buck.
They're still probably going to do that because they want to play the season. But the tournaments themselves, the smaller tournaments, aren't going to.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to put a bunch of teams in the season's still going to happen. Yeah. But like it's good that they're not doing it, Dave. That's what I think. And then last thing, Dave, you said Bears, I said Rams for Monday Night Football that just kicked off. It's going to be a great game. Want to thank you all for watching another edition of MVP Sports Live. Hopefully my stream keeps up so I can end the show. Join the Discord, link down below, or / Discord into Twitch chat. You want to support us, patreon.com/MVP vids is how you do that. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch, where we are live every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv / vids, and we're on YouTube at MVP Sports. Dave and I will be back tomorrow with more. I know that some people may be saying, well, guys, another thing from the weekend is that Jalen Waddle got injured. How's that going to... We'll talk about that later this week. There was... The recap takes about 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, so there's not a lot of stuff you can fit in on a Monday show, but we will be back tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and as always, have a good day, everybody.